Okay, so tonight is print night, and we've got I think we got 28 entries, 26, 28. All right, so we'll begin as usual with our print general. You want to share your screen, Tony?
Yeah, let me pull that up here. Hold on one second. I want to get the score sheet out of the way.
Where is everybody tonight?
Watching World Series.
Oh, what's the score? I forgot about that.
5-0.
9-0.
5-0. Tampa Bay.
5-0. Gotcha. Ooh, they're making a comeback.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
So,
Okay, hit share screen. I think that's it.
Yep.
okay, one other thing, Tony, I'm going to mute everybody.
Okay.
And you'll need to unmute yourself. And any of the rest of you, you can unmute yourself if you need to talk, or you can press on the space bar and hold it down and you can talk.
Okay, I need to unmute, I guess.
Just a minute, I haven't
I'm not muted.
Well, I hadn't gotten it done yet. Okay.
Okay, unmuted.
Okay,
And
I'm
then-
unmuted. So we got our first entry, and that is creating music.
Okay, I got to pull up the score sheet. I'm trying to figure out where that went. Oh, there it is. Okay. There we go, creating music. All right. I really like this image of the violins lined up like it is. The color is very rich and saturated. And my only negative critique would be, and again, it's just a personal preference. It really has, I mean, it's really just me. And that is maybe cropping it a little tighter just to eliminate some of this open space on this side. Although it looks like maybe the shadow here of the maker was wanting it in the image instead of cutting it. But I think it's pretty nice. If we had the opportunity to crop it here, we could do something along this line. Let's see. Can you see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just using Microsoft Photo Viewer here, but maybe something along that line. And then I like, let's see, where is it here? This little window, this little under adjustments. Sometimes if you can vignette it a little bit on the edges, might help it a little bit. There we go. Vignetting a little bit would give it a little bit more focus on this. But apart from that, it's a wonderful shot. I mean, I wouldn't do much with it at all. I mean, I like it. And I gave it, for composition, I gave it a 4, impact a 4, and technically a 5.
All right. Creating Music by Terry Hamilton, 13 points.
Good job, Terry.
Next is Fall Color.
Okay. This is a lot of color here, and I like the color. It's a nice, I guess I would say, splash of color. And there's not, again, on this one, there's not a whole lot I would do differently, but maybe beef up the contrast just a little bit and maybe just make it a hair brighter. But other than that, it's an excellent picture, and really it's a personal preference, that's all. I gave it a 5 for composition. a 4 for impact and a 4 for the technical aspects.
Fall Color by Don Burnell, 13 points. Next is Falls in the Fall.
Okay, a very nice tranquil image, nice colors. What I mean by nice is it's colorful because you can see kind of a turquoise coloring in here. That's not quite sure what's making it turquoise. It's hard to see the turquoise over here. So I think maybe it's maybe coming from the sky, or maybe there's some minerals in the water that's making it that way. I like the vertical because the vertical is I would say correct for this. From a critique standpoint, I would say that this area over here has got sunlight on it. And while there's nothing wrong with sunlight, it's a little bit too light, a little too washed out. And I would probably darken that down a little bit and make it a little richer. Maybe kind of match it up somewhat like this, even though this is in shade. But apart from that, it's very nice. And I gave this one 5 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 3 for the technical, meaning that this area right up in here, the light area, should be a little darker, a little richer.
Falls in the Fall by Steve Whitaker, 12 points. Next is Forgotten.
Okay. This one is rich in color, and it's an interesting shot with a park bench, a Bible, and a cup of coffee. So you kind of wonder who left it behind. My critique of it would be that this sidewalk right here probably isn't all that necessary, in that the subjects is the coffee and the Bible. And so if it were me, I would have cropped it probably something along this line of maybe bringing it down, something like that, and maybe bringing this up a little bit, like so, to make it more about your subject. And I think with that, you'd have a pretty interesting shot. Also, a little bit of vignetting might help too. Might just darken in a little bit, which would draw the attention more to this area right here. But it's a nice shot. And I gave it a 3 for composition. For impact, I gave it a 3, but I gave it a 5 for its technical aspect because the colors are good. It's sharp focus. It does well there.
Forgotten by John Stockham, 11 points.
Okay.
Jiminy.
Okay, this one I really like, but maybe that's because I like bugs and animals and all that kind of thing. I like it because the photographer was at eye level with the grasshopper, and that creates intrigue and allows you to connect with the grasshopper. It's in sharp focus, especially what needs to be in focus, which is the eyes and the frontal area. All this is really good, and the rest of it's not quite so important. I like the fact that the corners are darkened down a little bit, so it brings the attention right to the insect. And I would, on this one, again, it's just my personal opinion, but vignetting maybe even a little more to dial in on it a little bit. And the sharpness is pretty good. So yeah, great shot, great shot. And this one, I gave, let's see, let me get out of here. I gave it a 5 for composition, a 5 for impact, and a 5 for technical.
Jiminy by Elaine Guidoni, 15 points.
Woohoo! Good job,
Good
Elaine.
job, Elaine.
Okay, next.
Next is Just a Day at the Beach.
This is gorgeous. I love this. I love the clarity of the eyes, the sharpness of the bird is phenomenal. I mean, the soft, out of focus background is just wonderful. My critique would be that the image probably would be even better if we could see the feet on the sand, see a little bit more of the bird, or instead of showing the feet, maybe doing something like making it more about his face, where it could be something like this. Or then you know it's absolutely intentional that the photographer was wanting to catch this bird just like this. But when the feet are kind of missing, it makes you kind of go, well, what happened? Was the feet not there? You know, was it, did he just not think that that he needed to have the feet in there, or in the excitement of getting the shot, maybe the ability to catch the feet just wasn't there. So I don't know. But in that case, I would have liked it more like this. But again, it's my opinion. So for composition, I gave it a 4. I gave it a 5 for impact and a 5 for the technical aspects.
Just a Day at the Beach by Elaine Guidoni, 14 points.
Woohoo! Good job again, Elaine.
Latah Creek.
Okay, very nice late afternoon or early morning shot of this little stream running down here. The colors are good, they're rich. The highlighted areas here are not blown out, which is a big problem with harsh noonday light. And in this case, you don't have that. So you've got the details in here. And I don't know if the maker burned it in or if the light was soft enough to where the camera actually caught it like this. But it's a wonderful shot. Your eye follows right up the stream. I'd like to have seen maybe somebody sitting on the embankment back there, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. That way, it's still a nice shot. The sky is blue enough to where it doesn't bother me as being a hot spot. Although you could, if you wanted to, see if that makes much of a difference to take the sky out. If you're going to take it out, you probably should take it all out so that it doesn't attract your eye at all. Yeah, this, let's see here. Maybe vignette a little bit, maybe. And maybe even darken it a little bit. It might make it pop a little bit more. But anyway, so for this one, I gave it a 5 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 5 for the technical aspect.
Latah Creek by Lori Carlton Smith, 14 points.
Nice job, Lori.
Very nice, Lori. Okay.
This is Molson Barn Sunset.
Okay, this one has got a very nice pastel kind of coloring to it. It looks like it was late afternoon, and it also looks like it's been warmed up a little bit, which is good because it makes it more inviting. The background, the blue in the mountains interesting. Maybe a little too much on the blue side, but I don't think it takes away from it too much, because the whole image is somewhat pastel looking. It almost looks like a painting. The sky, the sunset back up here, sun going down, all of this in there looks really nice. I would, let me see here. It looks like that some of the burning was done. There's some burning in done along here that caught my eye when I was looking at it. Because, I'm trying to eagle eye everything, right? And scrutinize and find out, what's wrong. And I try, and I think everybody as photographers tries to do is work as hard as they can to get the image to be as perfect looking as possible. And so I'm not sure why there's a little outlining there, unless there was an attempt to burn this in, burn in the mountains a little bit to give us a little bit of a flare here. But apart from that, it's an excellent image. Cropping, I don't know if I would, maybe take some of the foreground out and give it more of a panorama look, possibly. The rest of it is pretty nice, very nice. So for this one, I gave it a 5 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 4 for the technical aspect.
Molson Barn Sunset by Tamara McGee, 13 points.
Very nice. Okay.
Next is Organ Pipe Cactus.
Okay, and this one I see a lot of rich colors that are being produced from the cactus. That looks kind of like a saguaro cactus. I'm sure it's in the same family, and I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't in Arizona, since Arizona is pretty much the only state in the country that has these kinds of cactus. The sky is a nice rich blue, so it's not competing too much. I would have liked to have seen maybe more of the cactus. It looks a little bit confined, a little crowded, you might say. The focus on it seems a little bit on the soft side, but I think nothing that a little sharpening wouldn't take care of. But yeah, I gave this one a 4 for compact. I'm sorry, for composition, 4 for impact, and a 3 for the technical aspect of it.
Organ Pipe Cactus by Don Burnell, 11 points. Oxbow Bend in the Morning.
This one, what I first noticed about it was the sharpness. It's very sharp, very clear, and allows you to get a really nice crisp look of this whole area. The colors are rich, and of course it's such a great time of year to see all of the foliage. See, we don't see this kind of stuff down here in Costa Rica, where we have these fall colors like this. You can't tell really one season to the next. They're there, but you have to really look for it. You can tell more by what kind of bugs are out. But anyway, the critique on this would be maybe to take some of the sky out, only because it seems like all of what's going on is in the lower part of the image, and it seems a little bit crowded to the bottom of the shot. And so if you were to crop it and bring down, take out some of the sky, it tends to more evenly divide it and give it more of a panoramic sweep, that is. And I would say that that's probably the only critique I have of it. It would be the sky. So I gave it a 3 for its composition, 4 for the impact, and 5 for the technical aspect.
Oxbow Bend in the Morning by Tim Lesser, 12 points. Pink Poppy.
I think that was a subliminal title because it does pop. It's a very popping image. It comes right out and grabs you. I think it's a beautiful image. The colors are exquisite. The detail is all there for the most part. It almost looks like it's floating. Hold on. Okay. It looks like it's floating almost. The colors are rich. And I gave this one a 5 for its composition. And yes, it is centered, but I think it works with this image. I gave it a 5 for impact because when you first saw this image, it just jumped. And I gave it technical because, for the technical aspect of it, I gave it a 5 also because of the rich colors and the bright contrast between all the different colors. Beautiful picture.
Pink Poppy by Tim Lesser, 15 points. Good job, Tim.
Okay.
Good job, Tim.
Yeah. Is he there?
Yeah, I saw him.
Okay.
South Carolina Wood Duck.
Okay. It's a beautiful, beautiful bird. It reminds me of a kind of an exotic mallard, male mallard. In fact, this is probably a male wood duck as well. I would say that with this, the background's a little bit competing. It's a little busy. And it's just unfortunate that the duck wasn't further away from that background so that it could be in soft focus, which is a technique that could be done in Photoshop or some of the photo software programs where you can actually pull the duck out of the background and soften the background up and give it a kind of an out of focus, distant look to it, and then put the duck back in the image or find another background for the duck. So he kind of competes with it. And yes, I know that the duck's coloring is camouflage and he would be hard to spot if he was in the wilds with a background kind of like this. And that's the idea. The lighting is a little bit on the harsh side, but I would say it's okay. It's acceptable. And but some of this stone here could be a little bit darker, could be a little burned in to bring out some of the detail. And instead of having some of it, like right in this area, is a little on the washed out side, and down in here also, and over in here. What I would have done to make this image, if I was going to use this image in critique night myself, if I'd taken this and I thought, gee, how can I make it better? I probably would crop out some of the background, make it more about the duck, and then maybe bring it in here a little bit, maybe a little bit on the tail, and maybe not much. Bring it down a little more, bring up the bottom, something like that. And then perhaps, let's see if I can, and then vignette it. And then by doing that, it tends to bring your eye more onto the duck and less on the background. So again, my opinion, but that's what I would have done. So for composition, I gave it a 4. Impact, I gave it a 3. And technical, a 3.
South Carolina Wood Duck by Beverly Hardin, 10 points. And our last entry for general color, St. George Chapel, Windsor Castle.
Okay, this is a beautiful image. The colors are kind of pastelish and soft, which I really like. And it's a nice rendition. Also, I noticed that the edges are straight, so you don't have any converging lines. This is nice straight up and down, and over here it's nice and straight up and down. So you don't have the lens distortion twisting the image like it oftentimes does when you're trying to get building shots like this. So that's well done. I don't know if the building actually ended over here to the right, if this was the end of it, or if it extended beyond this, and that the maker was wanting to just capture this much of it. And looking at it, it makes me think that maybe there's more to this building rather than having it end here. If it ended here, I would have liked to have seen more of the building to the right of it. I mean, I'd like to see the end of it is what I'm saying, of the building, right along here. And then whatever it was next to, or that could be cropped, I suppose. Because over here, the building ends on the left, and then you have this green in here, which is fine, that works good. So this is just a little bit disturbing, but apart from that, I mean, it's nice. And I gave this a 5 for its composition, a 4 for its impact, and a 5 for the technical aspect.
St. George Chapel, Windsor Castle by Dorothy Detler, 14 points.
Beautiful, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're moving on to our next category, which is general monochrome. We have 3 entries.
Okay, let me bring that up here. I need to bring up monochrome. Can you see it?
The first entry is Busy Bee.
Okay, I lost my critique sheet. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. Okay. I like the close-up of the bee. That's excellent because it's hard to get. Especially they don't stay in one spot very long. And so to kind of move in on them and get this shot, unless it was cropped from a ways back, is you got to be on your feet for this, to, you know, on your toes to get this like this. So it's very good in that regard. Black and white, good black and white is hard to get. And that's why I strongly recommend using the filters designed for making black and white images in the photo program, because I'm not sure if that was used here. It doesn't look like it, only because it seems a little bit on the harsh side. And of course, you have the harsh light as well, which makes it very hard to get the detail in the bee, especially around in here. It's tough. It's not bad, but it's tough. It also could be maybe a hair sharper. I gave it a 3 for composition because it looks a little bit pushed to the right. And the reason I say that is because over here, yeah, you have a lot of area and you don't have that much breathing room, at least it doesn't appear to be, for the bee. So I might have cropped it, bringing it in something like this to put the bee more to the right of the image, or at least a little bit less centered, something like that. And the petals of the flower here are kind of competitive. So to get rid of it, you could do something like this to make it crop it up a little tighter. And let's see, let's give us a little more breathing room here. Something like that. And then this area in here where the light is falling on this is a little bit distracting. If this was burned in or maybe vignetted would help. So anyway, I gave this one a 3 for composition, a 3 for impact, and a 3 for the technical aspect.
Busy Bee by Don Burnell, 9 points. Just Beautiful.
Okay, let me, there we go. Okay, composition-wise, this is very similar to the other one, the pink poppy, from the way that it's centered in the image, but I think the centering works with these pictures, almost kind of like a kaleidoscope works by being in the center. But from its composition, I think it's very nice. I gave it a 4 for composition. For impact, it's a little, for a flower, to me, it's a little on the harsh side. And so while it kind of jumped out at me, it didn't jump out at me as being a real pleasing image to look at, which is what you expect of flowers. So from impact standpoint, I gave it a 3. And from the technical aspect of it, it looks like some of the burning and dodging isn't, I'm not sure if this is a shadow up in here or if this is burning and dodging in this area here, but it looks, in my opinion, a little harsh, a little strange, it doesn't quite work. So I gave it a 3 for the technical aspect.
Just Beautiful by Don Burnell, 10 points. And our last entry in general monochrome is Searching.
Okay, at first glance with this, my eye immediately went to what was in the mirror, the lamp and the light on the wall. And then it came down and it went to his face. And then I was looking around trying to figure out how I'm supposed to tie these two images together. They're almost like two separate images. One competes with the other. The lighting, I think, is good. I mean, I like the lighting on his face. That works. I mean, it's very, that's well done. I like the fact that there's light back in here. That's well done. It's not overdone as far as the lighting goes and whether it's blowing anything out to where anything is disturbing. But the two images do compete with each other, and I'm trying to figure out what they have to do with each other, because that's what my first inclination is to try and see where the relationship is, and I'm having a hard time with that. So compositionally wise, by putting this image in here with this gentleman here, I would say the composition is good. I mean, it was all right. So I gave it a 4 for composition. The impact was good. I mean, it had impact. I mean, when I looked at it and saw it and thought, okay, this is pulling me into the image, I gave it a 4 for impact. And for the technical aspect of it, it did seem like, even though his face is nicely lit, it did seem a little bit on the pixelated side. Maybe it was shot in low light and you used a high ISO rating that made it somewhat pixelated, so it's not as sharp, I think, as it could be. And then, of course, I would have liked to have seen a little more detail in his body, just a little bit more, just so I could see more of him sitting there. So I gave it a 3.
Searching by John Lepper, 11 points. All right, so now we're moving on to our subject, which is country roads.
Okay, let me get rid of this here. Oops. Stand by.
Dennis, did you want to take a break just for a few minutes?
No, I'm good.
Okay, let me share the screen. And let me get my score sheet back here.
Okay, our first entry in subject color is Around the Bend.
Okay, The subject, as I recall, was country roads and forest, right, or woods or that kind of thing. And while the exposure is good and the colors are correct, this is like kind of like some of the subjects we had last time, where you're dealing again with harsh light, harsh noonday sunlight for the most part, and or at least sometime in the afternoon or morning, not quite sure when, but the light is wrong, so it's kind of hard.
Tony, we're kind of losing your volume.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No,
That's a little better.
Is that better?
no.
No.
Let's see here. Let me see if I can raise it. See on the microphone. Let's see, test speaker and mic, audio settings. Well, it's up all the way. It's showing that it's functioning fine. Okay,
It's better now.
okay. All right. Anyway, the lighting is harsh and flat, meaning that it doesn't have, the contrasts are too extreme in it to make this an interesting photograph. The road is there, but the shadows rolling across the road and all this, this is more of a snapshot than it is an image that where some creative time was put into it to make this an interesting picture. Different time of day would have changed it. Vignetting the corners might help. Cropping it might make it a little better. To give an example, let's see here. Taking out some of the sky. Something along that line, getting rid of some of this wasted space over here, because the subject was more about the road. And let's see, adjustments. Let's see, what did I do? I lost my cropping, didn't I? Vignetting it somewhat, I think, helps. I'm gonna move this down. Okay, where was I? Something right around in here, I think. Take out some of this, see vignette. Okay. And getting rid of some of this. Yeah. So this would all help. Maybe darken it a little bit. So you can improve it a little bit. I don't think it would, that this particular image could be a 15, but there's ways of working it so that at least it's more interesting than the way it was. So I gave this one a 3 for compact, a 2 for impact. I mean, I'm sorry, 3 for composition, 2 for impact, and 3 for the technical aspect.
Around a Bend by Sister Madonna, 8 points. Next, we have Autumn Leaf Country Road.
Okay. This one, let me see here. It's a little bit on the light side. I like the colors, the idea of the fall colors and the trail, following the trail up to the back of the screen. Moving, let's see, where's my arrow here? There we go. Moving up along through here and going to the back. I like that, but the lighting is too, it's not creative enough. It needs more impact as far as directional light. and I don't see much of that here. The color seems to be a little to the yellow and maybe just a little oversaturated. But yeah, it's just flat in its look, I guess would be my biggest concern with it. I gave it a 2 for its composition, a 2 for its impact, and a 3 for the technical.
Autumn Leaf Country Road by Beverly Hardin, 7 points. Country Railroad.
Okay, this has got a lot of impact. I mean, this one, when I first looked at it, I go, wow, this is very interesting, very good. The railroad tracks take your eye right up to center and to who knows where, you can't really tell, but it makes your eye want to follow up and see something more. The wheat fields on either side of the road are gorgeous. And the clouds are phenomenal. I love the clouds. Lots of contrast, lots of beauty to it. It's a wonderful picture. What I would have done in this one, if this was mine, I probably would have taken out some of this over here on this side and not made the tracks quite so centered. And I might have taken out a little bit of the sky, maybe bringing it down, something like that. Maybe bringing this over a little bit more along that line there. And then maybe vignette it a little bit to put the focus more on the railroad track. Brings your eyes right up the middle here. And it looks like it's a little bit on the soft side, but acceptable, very acceptable. And so it's a beautiful image. Let me take this back to where it was, which is there. That's the original. And I gave it a 3 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 5 for the technical.
Country Railroad by John McLaughlin, 12 points. Country Road Colors.
Okay, this one has got lots of yellow, lots of fall colors, very bright, very pretty. The road is to the right, it's not centered, it's moving off to the right, going there like so. So your eye wants to follow the road and take it around the corner. The, see, what are these, aspens? So that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, it's a gorgeous image. What I would have done with it, I might have taken a little bit of some of the top of the trees out a little bit to make it more about the road. Maybe a little bit over here. And again, maybe vignette it a little bit so that it puts your eyes right up the road like that. But yeah, I mean, it's a great shot. So for this one, I gave it a 4 for composition, a 5 for impact, and a 5 for the technical aspect.
Country Road Colors by Steve Whitaker, 14 points.
Good job, Steve.
Good job, Steve.
Way to go.
Fall Canopy.
Okay. This one is a well-saturated image. Again, to me, it's a little on the light side, and the road is kind of lost in with the rest of the image. In other words, it's a little bit on the busy side. It's hard to separate one from the other. And so the question is how do you make this stand out more? How do you take an image like this and make it pop? And again, a lot of it has to do with the contrast and the cropping. So to do something like that, I would have probably, again, cropped a little bit from the top. Maybe bring it up a little bit from the bottom, make it somewhat of a wide angle shot. And then vignette it. So it becomes more about the road. And the rest of the background then gets darker and the road becomes more prominent and is separated by the green foliage on either side of the road. And sometimes you can sharpen it a little bit. Let's see, that's not really sharpening it, is it? Okay, anyway, that's in my opinion, that would be an improvement. And we're looking at a 4 for composition, a 3 for impact, and a 3 for the technical.
Fall Canopy by Donna Larson, 10 points. Fall Freewheeling.
Okay. This is another very nice image. I like the fact that there's a person in the image, because the bicyclist here gives you scale to the image and makes it very interesting to look at. If the bicyclist wasn't there, then it's just another road shot. But the bicyclist really helps it. And so again, I really like this image. I would suggest maybe again cropping it a little bit to bring the bicyclist in. Maybe bringing down some of the trees here, a little bit on the side here, take some of that out. Make him a little bit not centered. And then of course, you know, I love the vignette. So you vignette it in like that. And again, it puts him as your center of view, and the rest of it, the trees and all that, are kind of a prop for this. It also looks like it might be a little on the soft side. So it could use a little sharpening. But apart from that, it's an excellent shot. I gave it a 4 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 3 on the technical side.
Fall Freewheeling by Lori Carlton Smith, 11 points.
And again, I want to reiterate that a lot of this, as you all know, is just my opinion and how I would have done it had I taken the same image. Okay.
Road to the Elevators.
Okay, this is a beautiful image. The colors and the contrasts are phenomenal. You know, the color of the road with the greens here of the wheat fields, the silo, the blue sky. I mean, and it doesn't have the appearance of it being oversaturated because the colors aren't bleeding. It's just very nice. It's just a wonderful picture. My only critique of it might be if this were shot in RAW, there might be the ability to pull detail in the white here that's on these silos, just because the sun has kind of washed it out a little bit here, and here. But I mean, it would have made it just a little bit better. But apart from that, this picture is excellent. I gave it a 5 for composition, a 5 for the impact, and a 4 for the technical.
Road to the Elevators by Dorothy Detler, 14 points.
Good job, Dorothy.
Good job, Dorothy. Road to the Horizon.
Okay, this is a beautiful image. I like the fact that the sky up above is dark so that it doesn't, your eye goes right to where the sky comes together with the fields. And it's almost like it's pointing at it. And the road helps you get there. So this whole image is just fabulous, very dramatic. And I love the colors. If I were to do anything with this, I'd probably maybe crop a little bit of the sky out, make it more horizontal, more panoramic looking. But apart from that, there's not much else. Maybe bring out a little more of the detail here in the flowers that are in the field. But phenomenal picture. I gave this one a 5 for composition, a 5 for impact, and a 5 on the technical.
Road to the Horizon by John Lepper, 15 points.
Nice work, John.
Very good, John.
Stay in the right lane.
Okay, this is similar to those other road shots that are taken in, midday, where you have a kind of a flat contrast look. In the trees area here, they just don't stand out. They're pretty busy. Again, the wrong kind of light. The road is okay in that it takes your eye and around the corner, but it doesn't have the richness and the contrast that it needs to make this image stand out. I would have probably cropped this trees out just a little bit because of the busyness, take out some of the busyness. And then maybe crop a little bit on the side here. The area up in here could be darkened. Which might help. A little vignetting perhaps. Something like that, and I think that might have improved it. But in its current state, it's kind of, it doesn't grab me, it doesn't have the impact. I gave it a 3 for composition, a 3 for impact, and a 3 for the technical aspect.
Stay in the Right Lane by Carolyn Clark, 9 points. And our last entry in color is The First Frost.
Okay, I love the pastel colors on this. It's very, very, very interesting. It almost looks like there's a fog back in here, which I suppose there is. I mean, or a mist of some sort. It's a very soft, very beautiful image. I think that it would be a little bit better if it was just a little sharper and a little more contrast to the image. Let's see here. So what I would have done with this, I probably would keep a lot of this in here. Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I like that mist up there. Maybe cut a little bit of it out. Maybe darken it down a little bit. Add some vignette to it. And a little clarity, a little contrast. And it might make it pop a little bit. Now, it's not as soft looking as it was before, but it does have a little more, to me anyway, it has a little more eye interest. Anyway, I gave it a 4 for composition, a 4 for impact, and a 4 for the technical.
The First Frost by Donna Larson, 12 points.
Very nice, Donna.
It is pretty.
Okay, we're now moving on to subject monochrome, and we have 2 entries.
Okay, let me, Okay. Hold on. I need to grab my my sheet. Here we go. Okay, can we see that?
Yes. This one is passing through.
Okay. Darn it, I just lost my the score sheet. All right, there we go. Got it back. Okay, there's a color one that was just like this. I went and checked it out. It's not the same image, so I guess it's permitted to submit two images, one black and white and one color, as long as it's not the exact same shot. And it's not, but it was taken in the same spot, and just a little different, and the cloud cover and all that had changed. But we got the same problem with this as we did with the other image, and that is it's just harsh and stark and blown out. These areas on the road here are washed out. There's no detail in them. And in the foreground here, the same problem. I mean, there's a little bit of detail, but not much. The shadows are harsh. The trees are harsh. The clouds are nice, but they're white and there's too many of them. So again, your eye kind of bounces between the road, the hot spots in the road, and the clouds up here. So unfortunately, I would love to, have said this was a beautiful picture, but it doesn't do it. So anyway, I gave it a 3 for composition, a 2 for impact, and a 3 for the technical.
Passing through by Sister Madonna, 8 points. And we come to our last entry for the evening and for the month. Up around the bend.
Okay, this image is, I think it's well composed. I like the road coming up and winding around and going to who knows where. The lighting is soft, but I would love to have seen a little more detail in the rocks, a little sharpness, crispness. It's lacking. The black and white, again, is very difficult to get good black and white when you're not using the black and white filters to mimic what black and white film used to do. And so we get kind of a monochrome looking image rather than a rich tonal range in this. And the rich tonal range usually goes from an area that's pure white to something that's pure black. And in this image, there's nothing that's pure white. Because if you look at this, it's a little bit, it's an off-white, it's kind of a grayish white. And the blacks, I mean, the most blackish area in the picture is maybe like up in here or down in here, but it's not a rich black, it's kind of a muddy black. So that's what it's lacking, but it creates kind of a harshness. And because it does, in my opinion, the image is not real attractive. It's okay, but not real attractive. The composition is good. I like the composition, so I gave that a 4. But the impact, I gave it a 3, and the technical aspect of it, I gave it a 3.
Up Around the Bend by Tamara McGee, 10 points. And there you have it, folks. I'll turn it over to you, Lynn. Thank you, Tony. And oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Belated happy birthday, Tony. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah.
El Guapo.
Yeah, I'm 32 years old.
Man.
You don't believe me?
Don't look a day over 30.
Okay, we have a couple of announcements. One by Tamara. is going to be giving us a Lightroom presentation on November 11th. So Tamara, are you ready to share your screen?
I sure am. I just need, let's see, it's been a while since I've used Zoom. Oh, here we go. So Tony, it looks like you'll have to stop before I'm allowed to share.
I don't think he heard you, Tamara.
Tony, you'll have to stop sharing your screen before I'll be allowed to share mine.
He's muted.
He's muted.
He's already celebrating.
He's got his earphones on now. He might hear.
Hi, Tony. Tony, you'll have to stop sharing your screen before I can have permission to share. No, he's not. He's talking to somebody.
Dorothy, can't you make it go away?
Oh, there,
Oh,
that works.
There it is.
Somebody did it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so that's not what I want to share. Bear with me. I have been using a different application for this for a while, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up now. Sorry about that. I didn't see the option I was looking for. I should have been more prepared.
We're all very forgiving because it's all a new world.
Well, I do this all day, so I think I took it for granted, but I'm using a different platform now, so this is just a little bit different.
Buttons are all in different places.
Exactly. Okay, so this is an image that I submitted to Club a few years back, and what Lynn had asked me to do was show a little bit of comparison of what it looks like for a before shot and an after shot after some processing in Lightroom. So this was a picture of Govan School out past Davenport quite a ways, and just wanted to kind of show what it could look like before and after some processing in Lightroom. So
That's the kind of thing you will show us how to do.
Yeah. Yep. That is, and I'm almost thinking, so I told Lynn, I said I have a hard time picking some images that are only processed in Lightroom because I bounce back and forth between using different programs for one image. So I would like to kind of show a little bit how I do that also as we get a little bit deeper into some of our sessions. And so this one though, I'm pretty sure I did this one almost completely in Lightroom. There was probably a little bit of clone stamping that took place in Photoshop, but the rest of it was done in Lightroom. And then the other image that I wanted to show you a little bit of before and after was also quite a few years back, but this was a monochrome image that I wanted to share. So again, what it can look like with some post-processing in Lightroom. And same with this one, I think it's mostly done in Lightroom, again, with probably some clone stamping done in Photoshop.
Very good. And that will be November 11th, a Wednesday.
Yes.
2 weeks from now.
Yep. At 7 o'clock, correct?
Well, 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
I think it's
Like 3.
I think it's 3. Yeah. And that's Veterans Day.
Yes, and we have a digital meeting before that.
We will say thank you to all of our veterans while we're learning from Lightroom.
Right.
And in the meantime, also, if people that have come to the classes are interested in sharing, hey, I want to know how to do this, or even if you haven't come to the classes and you have some questions, please feel free to shoot those to me either through the club email or through Facebook Messenger, or however you can get a hold of me. Feel free to shoot me those ideas so that I can prepare to answer questions that you have.
Okay. The other is that in December 9th, Mike Busby will be our presenter. He'll talk about professional photographers of Washington, which he's very involved in, and would love to share the benefits of that with us. Also, he will talk about what he looks for in a photo as he goes about getting ready to judge it. So he'll share his process. We will not have anything October 28th. So our next meeting is digital in November, that's November 4th, if we're all still alive.
Don't say stuff like that, Lynn.
So good. Okay, well, anyway, so November 4th, we'll see you. And for those of you who are on the board, the board meeting will be at 6 o'clock the same night.
Okay.
Okay? And thank you all for coming. And see you soon.
So what's next month's topic?
Next month's
Liquid.
subject of the month is, yes, liquid.
Does vodka count?
Yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
does.
Does what count? Vodka? Oh. David Powers, did you get your pictures back?
No.
Okay, David's computer crashed. He's not happy.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey. Yeah,
Anything else?
I was there a month ago.
All right.
I lost mine.
I am going to go call my husband and say, come home. The rest of you have a good evening.
Thanks, Lynn.
All right, Lynn.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank
It's
you,
good to see
Tony. Thank you,
everybody.
Lynn.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you,
Hey,
Tom.
Steve. Steve, oh, he left already. I want to know how, anyone watching the baseball game? I want to know how